Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Doing good. My name's Greg.
Yeah, this is Greg, and Greg had a podcast in the past called Periodic Table of Components, and he told me not to talk about, but we're going to. And Eric is back, and we're going to talk about bag building.
Oh yeah, bag building.
You're listening to Season 8, Episode 2 of Board Game Games, as I talk with Greg and Eric about bag building games, what we like about them, what we want to see done differently, and what we're looking forward to ones in the future. Thanks for listening as we continue to explore the world of tabletop gaming.
Not enough of them.
Yeah. Why don't you want me to talk about your podcast, Greg?
Oh well,
See, I'm going to put you on the spot.
it's just it's been too long since I've done it, and I feel like I need to do a little refresh on it. But if anybody wants to go check it out, it's the periodic table of components. Yeah, it's just a fun little thing I did towards the end of the pandemic, and I was like, you know what, I can do a podcast too. I know how to talk, so I threw that out there in the world. I've had a little bit of listenership, but kind of died down. But I'm happy to be here to check with board game games and be able to discuss bag building with you guys.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody kind of did a podcast for a little while.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't a true crime one. I mean, Aaron would be happy, but some of those seems to still be doing fine, I guess. Before we go on, have you guys ever watched Knives Out or Glass Onion? I really want there to be just two games in the series, two board games related to those movies, but somehow really good, and other than the name, to be nothing to do with the movies at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I don't want it to be like the plot of the movie. I just want it to be in those settings.
Now, why is that? Well, where these
Maybe
movies-
that could be the next podcast. Well, because in the first one, the guy who dies is kind of Agatha Christie type author,
Okay.
and it's his house is just kind of crazy, filled with stuff from his books. And then the second one, Glass Onion, it's hilarious. Again, there's a crazy house on this island, and the main character is played by the main bad guy character is played by oh goodness sakes, I'm terrible with actors' names from Fight Club. What's his name?
Ed Norton?
It's Ed Norton,
Okay.
I believe, right?
I've never seen the
Okay,
second one.
maybe I'm getting this all wrong
I've only
because I
seen
get
that,
actors wrong all the time. But Ed Norton, and he uses what's it called when you say like a word, but it's not the correct word. But he does that throughout the entire movie. So like,
Is this like a comedy or is
they're
this...
both kind of comedies.
Okay.
They're mystery
comedies.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're quite fun.
Ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, maybe that's what we should talk about in the future. IPs we want to see in board games. That would
Okay.
actually
I'll
be
definitely
interesting.
be down for
Yeah.
that.
Because without getting into too much, but I can say the Umbrella Academy was one of the most disappointing board games for me. I don't own it because the comics are pretty cool. The show is pretty cool, but that game, that's all I'll say about that. Okay, bag building. We have a list in front of us. We all have the same list in front of us. We could talk about the game behind Eric right now, but we're going to get into it. What do you guys bring to the table when you think of bag building right away before we get into this list and other thoughts that we have?
Eric,
The first thing that when we were preparing for this episode, was looking at the bag builders, and I noticed what stood out to me is how few bag builders compared to deck builders there are. And I don't really know why that is, because there were some banger bag building games. There's some great bag builders. Whereas deck building, I think we talked about this in the last one, a lot of deck builders use that same formula. Draw 5, you spin to the market, build up your hand, right?
Yeah.
Bag building, it seems like there's way more, I don't want to say more you can do, but there's more done in a lot of bag builders. So why aren't there more? Why do we not see more bag builders?
That's a good question. Again, like I think going back to the whole deck building aspect and the comparison, it's been thrown into the same category as deck building. And I think just for the simple fact is you're constructing something and you're pulling either cards or something out of a bag that you've curated, but there's still a little bit of randomness. But as far as why there isn't more bag building, that's a question I think we need to try to figure out today, because bag building is one of my favorite mechanisms, and I'm just curious why there aren't enough, enough bag builders out there that
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention one. So we'll start with this at the beginning here, because I had asked Liz Davidson, who has Beyond Solitaire podcast. I asked her what one of her favorite mechanisms is, and she said bag building too. She really likes pushing her luck in that way, but she doesn't like flipping cards. She doesn't, even though mechanically it's very similar, right? Of like, you know, something is built into the deck with the randomness, but she wants to have that chance of like something exploding.
Yeah, the tactile
yeah.
feel of
Yeah.
pulling tokens out is one of my favorite aspects of bag building. Is, you know, it's just there's a little bit of a toy factor in there. You got this bag, you can't see anything in it. You reach in with your hand and you just, you know, I know I'm sure we'll bring it up at different games, but especially with Quacks, it's just like that. You know, you're pulling that out, and like you just said, you know, is something going to explode, or what's this random shit that's going to do that? Hey, I put in this, or even maybe the game has forced me to put in, for example, the white chips and Quacks. But yeah, back to the toy aspect, I think that's compared to deck building. That's why bag building seems to appeal in a different way than deck building does. And that's why I think it should be in a separate category for sure.
Yeah.
It's just the appeal and what you can do with the mechanics of that and the gameplay. I just feel is a totally different world than deck building.
And it takes it up that other notch when you get the deluxe bits, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep. The
something about that
acrylics and-
click clack, putting your hand in the bag
Yep.
and grabbing it. It's way more satisfying than even taking a cardboard chit out or flipping a card.
You feel like you have control, but you don't have control.
Right.
You know, you're sticking your hand in and, okay, maybe I'm going to reach toward the bottom of this bag and grab a token that may have not gotten shaken up all the way and gotten
Start trying to use your extra senses to, you know, put your hand in the bag and nope, that's the cherry bomb from Quacks. I don't need that one.
Yeah. Yep.
So on that note, I was going to mention Liz has her own game coming out at some point with artwork and icons by Tool and co-design with David Thompson. That's going to come out from Fort Circle Games, and that is Night Witches, about World War II Russian women who were using old biplanes to like drop stuff on the Germans.
Oh, this sounds
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's got a whole campaign like thing where you are probably I think Kevin's doing it spiral bound where you just go to the next page and do the next mission. I played a little bit early on, and in a nice way, David said very much, I've never seen anybody play so terribly, but he essentially said, I've never seen anybody push their luck in that way before. Where my planes were basically falling apart and I was still flying out. So anyway, that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah. And David Thompson, he's touched in bag building before with War Chest and all that. So he's already kind of dabbled with this.
Yeah.
And okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That
So
sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I think people will like that game whenever it does come out. Obviously, there's some delays right now. We're in April 25. If people listen later on at some point, they're like, "What are you talking about delays?" But yes, tariffs do exist at this point in time.
And the Night Witch is an actual historical, real event that happened. That where you're saying during World War II, is all female pilots that were going out during the night. Yeah, I think I remember here. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, give them some amphetamines and some cigarettes and get them out there again as quick as you can to do their job before before the Germans advance.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Is that you said you're going through a campaign, is it a solo or cooperative? Or
I think it's solo or two-player cooperative type of thing that you can do. I think I would prefer to play that one solo. I don't like all solo games, but I think a bag builder is actually a great one to do solo because,
absolutely,
especially when you're turning pages in a book. That one sounds fun. Let's jump to Orleans since you talked about nice bits.
I would almost say Orleans and Quacks may be the two most well-known bag builders out there. There are a lot of good games that are just right up there with those two, but when we talk bag building, the first two that come to mind are Orleans and Quacks for sure.
They were first two on my list.
Are you doing the new version of Quacks with the upgrade bits and everything else?
I just picked it up. But I had the old version, the base and the upgraded bits, but I found a really good deal on the new version, and I looked into the expansions and I liked what the expansions brought. Yeah. I think my quibble with Quacks is there's
Your quibble with Quack.
my quibble with Quacks.
Your
That was
quibble
not
with
on.
Quacks.
Yeah, there was this. It's a bit of a runaway leader issue when I play,
Hmm.
and then maybe that could be a skill issue with
Oh,
us
see?
just not understanding the game as well as
But
we
you don't
could.
think the rat mechanism?
In my
it
experience, again, this is playing with family mostly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So typically we see a runaway leader when we play base. So I'm interested to get those expansions in, see how they change the game. And the bits are really nice. I opened it up. We haven't had a chance to play yet, but the bits are real nice that come with that new all-in edition. The art, I mean, we're not talking about art in podcast, so I'll leave that. It's not my favorite, but I will say on the inside, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're playing the game, you're not looking at the art. I mean, Quacks is about drawing from a bag, and you've got a little board in front of you.
I was actually surprised when they announced the second edition of Quacks. I thought Quacks was perfectly fine the way it is. The art, the mechanisms. I had like you said, no quibbles with Quacks. Like you said, I thought Quacks was fine. I don't plan on getting the new version. I love the old version. I know we started talking about Orleans and we kind of veered off to Quacks,
that's
but
great.
yeah, Quacks is. I'm personally perfectly fine with the old version of Quacks. But yeah,
I think the new version looks more like the type of game you're going to get than the old version does. Though.
okay.
That's
I can see that. I do think that they made the change in an attempt to be more mass markety.
Sure.
And that's what CMYK does. They have a TV show coming up and all this other stuff. But I think my thing with it is like, why is it so black? Like it looks like it's hard to see the people on the cover because there's so much of the cover that's dead space. Like, why don't you focus more on those characters that are on there and more on the potions? That was my issue with the art. But I already have the big box, so I'm not going to upgrade. But it is a game I already enjoy too. I have a friend who did an entire birthday party where he made like potions and
Oh wow.
they did a big thing for
A Quacks themed birthday party?
Quacks theme.
Really?
It's like his
great.
favorite game.
Okay, I thought I was a board game fan, but okay.
They had desserts. They had the whole thing, but they did a
Do
whole
they have
thing.
rats at this party?
There were some rubber rats, I believe.
Rubber rats.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So that Quacks is great. I don't know what else to say about it. If you haven't tried it, you should probably try it. It's going to be available more widely with the basic version, but
Yeah.
I find that
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, that the outside, the cover, the
Yeah.
inside, actually your cauldrons that you're building on are actually, to my eye, easier to read and to parse out.
I agree with that. I'm just talking about that cover
in the
that some
box.
people had such
Quacks?
visceral reactions to.
Quacks, I think, is the quintessential. We're talking about the push your luck element of bag building. I think Quacks is it, right? It's
Absolutely. If
it's
you want to
so random and nonsense and push your luck and fun. You can't take it too seriously. I mean, there are strategies and different what bits you're buying in between rounds, but I think as a bag builder, I think Quacks does the best job of kind of just introducing that push your luck mechanic
Absolutely.
as the kind of anti deck builder, right?
Couldn't agree more.
I will buy all these chips and I never pull them.
Yeah.
And my daughter's lapping me around the cauldron
guess
as we're playing.
I guess we can state then that if you're introducing somebody to the mechanism of bag building and somebody hasn't played bag build, would you guys say Quacks is your go-to introductory game for that? Would you introduce them to Quacks or Orleans, you think?
Quacks, I think, is a better one because I think Orleans is a little bit more for gamers, honestly. Both how it looks and how it plays generally, especially when you add any of the expansions.
Speaking of Orleans is again a big box soon that looks really sexy. I'm excited about that. I know there's a lot of people fuming for the big box, so yeah.
Yeah, I try not to talk about my day job too much, but I am excited about that. We could talk about a lot of things related to tariffs right now, but prices I know for a lot of companies, prices are going to be changing at some point soon, and so that's an unfortunate part. I don't want to go too far that
I
direction.
mean, that's kind of an aspect of bag building, right? You're just pulling numbers out of a random bag and just assign them to a country. And no, but back to Orleans, you were saying that um, along with Quacks, Orleans, I believe, is not necessarily a good introductory, but once somebody's gotten familiar with bag building, you're like, hey, have you played Orleans? And introduce them to that game. Because I really do think Orleans is a great game and great bag building game for sure. So you guys want to talk about Orleans a little bit?
Sure. Oh goodness sakes, what do you guys want to say? Because I'm choking over here and dying.
I think Orleans is to bag building is the like more. I don't really love the term Euro game, but it's the more Euro game bag builder. And Quacks is the more Ameritrash bag builder.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Like Orleans, I think there's a lot of like we were talking before we started. When I play Orleans, I've only played base, so I've not played the expansions. But I generally play the same first few moves. I go for this same couple locations to start building my bag.
That's why you
in a
invited me
certain
to play
way.
with you on
And that's a common thing with a lot of games. I feel like if somebody's played a game quite a bit, they kind of have their preset opening moves, and yeah, but an argument could be made that that's not set in stone that you have to make the first couple moves the same thing. But definitely as you go through the games of Orleans, I mean, in my opinion, it's definitely not scripted at all. I mean, you're building a bag and the different what are those tiles that come out at the top where you can purchase those kind of market tiles?
The place tiles.
The place tiles.
Yeah.
Yep, those can definitely switch up the game because those will trigger all kinds of different things. So
what is your kind of starting way of going? Do you automate as much as you can, as fast as you can?
I like to do that. Yeah, I like to get the cogs to automate. I like to get the monks as the wild. I find once you do that, once you've automated a few or taken some of the placements that require 3 and move it down to 2,
here we are,
and you get some
Orleans
and you get some
right
monks.
Here.
I find it really opens up a lot that you can do.
That's what I think Aaron and Clay and I just played recently, and that's what Aaron and I were kind of trying to do, but Clay went really fast into this knights strategy that I haven't done for a while, and he wiped the floor with us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you use any of the expansions or?
We did. We just had the trade and intrigue board.
Okay.
And that's it. So,
yeah. And I've only played a few times with the modular places where you kind of change those, and that does change.
Absolutely.
That does change the game quite a bit. So yeah.
I think that game is perfect the way it is. I don't think any changes need to be made. I sure hope. We saw Quack 2nd edition. I don't think we needed to see Orleans 2nd edition. Although, didn't it go through some type of iteration of changes at some point?
A little bit, but I have a story I could tell there. I'm not going to, though.
You get Chris in trouble.
I was, what I will say is that DLP highly values the Teutonic look to Orleans. That's important to them. I do not.
Yeah.
So
it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. I but if I want to go see that, I'll go at the art museum here in Cincinnati has a whole Teutonic tomb, and some of the art is very similar in that people are. I'm burning bridges.
I think
now.
that would be an interesting
people
topic.
are looking cross-eyed in the tomb too. Yeah.
Greg, why is beige your favorite color?
Beige, it's just a good color. No, I think that'd be an interesting topic we should cover in the future. Is the evolution of art and board games because the old Kramer art and all that things that now you see Ian O'Toole being the more recognized artist and the Miko. I see art and board games evolve. I don't want to get too off track, but maybe we'll touch that. But as far as Orleans, the old art, I mean, I personally don't mind it just because it's shown its date.
Yeah.
It wasn't released yesterday, so I mean, I say, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So Altiplano, have you guys played that one? I'm gonna just switch right back into the
Altiplano. No,
I have not played that
this one I have not played, but I have heard good things about it.
I've heard comparisons between that and Orleans as one of the top bag builders.
Yeah, and I think the reason that it kind of disappeared somewhat from the North American market, right, is this was carried by TMG. Yeah, right. So we're not seeing it out there as much as I used to. I know people that used to play it all the time, had a lot of fun with it. I played several times. I enjoyed that game. I would play it again. I would say, yeah, it's similar to Orleans. Let's jump to another one, automobiles. This was one I'd forgotten about. Do you guys own this one?
I do not. I've played it on BGA
Okay.
a couple times. But yeah, that's the extent of my plays with it.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's back in the AEG series of like trains and planes and all of those square box ones. Just a fun game. What you want to go to coffee roasters? We have a list in front of us. I'm not gonna cover everything on this list. We're just gonna kind of jump around, talk about them as we see them, and anything that we're like, oh, this is a bad one, this is a good one, maybe you should check this out.
The thing is anybody out there goes to Board Game Geek and looks up bag building, the mechanic of bag building, it's in this same category as deck building. So to actually filter it down to straight bag building games, there are not a lot of bag building games. We didn't mention this too much, but the amount of bag building games compared to deck building games is very minimal.
Yeah.
So on that note, going into Coffee Roaster I've played quite a few times. It's a solo only game, and essentially it's a bag building game, obviously, and you're building different types of coffee from different types of different countries, and essentially you're putting beans into a bag, and you're pulling these beans out to hopefully create the right type of coffee that you're going for. So yeah, I personally think Coffee Roasters is a fantastic solo game.
So what's funny? Before we started recording, I asked if you played any Sashi games, and you said Photograph is the only one.
Oh, Coffee Roaster, that is solid.
This is actually the first Sashi game I also played, and I didn't realize it was a Sashi game at the time.
Yeah, because the art.
You played the new art version then,
right?
Yeah.
Because there's an original art version, which is
I played the Stronghold one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So I lied to you. I apologize.
No.
I'm a liar. The only
So
other Sashi game I've played is
go.
Photograph and Coffee Roaster, which is a fantastic bag building game.
Yeah, it's really good. Let's jump down to. We could talk about Dice Masters. Dice Masters is fun, but I don't really want to talk about that. That could be a whole thing on its own.
Yeah.
I still own a few just because I liked some of the sets, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some of the other Marvel ones. But Dice Settlers, do you guys like that one? What do you think about that one? That's an older one. Let's see, when did that come out? Trying to see here. Dice Settlers came out in. Anybody got a year for me? This was a David Turtsey game, right?
Really?
And
Yep.
I believe so. Yeah. And the year
2018.
2018. So it's been 7 years since this came out. This was early Miko art too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Early Miko art looks like.
Yeah.
This is something is grabbing my interest here. I think I might have to try this one out. You say David Turtsey and the Miko art on it.
Civilization.
Yeah, and for both of them, I think we've seen growth with what they can do. But it was fun at the time.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot about it. I would try it again though.
Okay.
So
That was Dice Settlers.
Looking at the description on BGG, it's a civilization dice game of pool building, resource gathering, and area control.
Yeah.
So when I hear all that, it makes me think of Wonderland's War, where it's a bag building game that has various different mechanisms in it. It's got rondel, it has area control as well. And typically I'm not a fan of area control so much, but in Wonderland's War, I think, again, kind of like we talked about Quacks and all these bag builders, the randomness, I think, helps me accept the area control, right? Because you can put as many people as you want out into a territory. If you don't draw the right chips, you're not going to win the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of, I enjoy that aspect of it, just that randomness of it, that anything can happen from battle to battle.
Wonderland's War. I personally haven't played that one, but I've heard everything, all good things about that one. So,
have you played, Chris?
Wonderland's War
Yeah.
once. I need to play it again. I have a friend Ben who adores it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be a little long, especially if you're playing at the full 5-player count. But I think 3 players, 4 players is really good. The round, it plays long. I mean, it's going to be a 2 or 3 hour experience probably, but the turns are snappy, and the round structure is such that you're not doing anything for too long. Like there's the rondel aspect, and part of that's where you're building up your bag, and then you're putting your people out, and then you're having the battles by drawing out of your bag. So it's kind of like each round is half and half.
Okay.
It's very good. I really enjoy it.
That's Wonderland's War, huh?
Yep. Let's go to Hyperborea here. Hyperborea was a Golden Geek nominee from the year it came out. It came out the same year as Orleans. It came out also with King's Pouch, a very different look to all 3 of the games. The other 2 kind of had that more classic look. This was a fantasy game. I tried this one once, and it just felt it fell flat for me between what you were doing out on the board, and I think it was the fact that it tried to do too much. It had the fighting. I don't know. Maybe I could go back to it and I would feel differently about it now. But at the time, I just remember being things were clutched together.
Is it like a 4X style with bag building, or
sort of? You are exploring. I don't think it has the. Is it the exploit?
It has been probably 8 years since I played this.
Yeah. You are exploring. You are battling, exterminating. Right.
Have you played it too?
I've not played. I had it for a while, and to your point, where it felt like it had too much.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through the rule book. It was a big boy, and it was just kind of all over the place.
Yeah. I just remember, I think we played it 4, maybe 5 people. It's been quite a while. I can remember where I was when I played it, but I don't remember everybody. I usually remember everybody sitting at the table for a game, but I don't for this one. Probably because it was near the end of the night and it felt like it dragged on too long. So it might be part of the reason that it's been kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Let's go to. Oh, do you want to say something?
Nope. I was just going to say, that could taint your first play in something.
Right.
You're having those types of experiences.
Isofarian Guard is one I would really enjoy to play someday. I know Clay is enjoying it a lot right now. Have you guys had a chance to take a look at it?
Oh, this looks interesting.
Big in the artwork.
Yeah, I believe this is like campaign type of game, heavier one. Big.
Yeah, solo co-op narrative.
Yeah. Yep, narrative driven. So I'm very much interested in this one. I just it's a big game. I'm going to be looking for a used copy at some point, probably.
Right.
Personally, how about you guys? It seems like it'd be up your. Alley,
and the more I look at it, it's rated at 8.7. So I mean, and it's been out for a couple of years, so it's holding strong. I would definitely be interested in playing this. And I guess obviously there's some bag building aspects to it. So yeah, I'd definitely be in for that one.
Yep. Let's jump up to King's Pouch. King's Pouch. This was a game again that came out at the same time as Orleans that same year, that 2014. But
2014 was a big year.
The bag building year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt very random. I actually owned a copy of a used copy of this once, and I sold it again because I wanted to see if it was worth, being part of my collection just as being an influential game. It's not, in my opinion.
It must not be because I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So, how much do you think Orleans just kind of sucked all the oxygen out of bag building right around that time?
Well, I mean, one's really good, and then there's this one. No, no offense to anybody else, but it just wasn't as good, right? Yeah. Let's go to the next one. I don't want to just keep ripping apart an older game. The Life of Amazonia. This is from Bad Comic Games.
You want to rip apart these animals now, Chris?
I mean,
what we want to do.
I would try this one. This is one of those very overproduced games, but I think we would all try it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Bad Comic tends to put out really nice stuff, and I appreciate that. And they do have somebody there likes at least somewhat enjoyable games. So, and it is, I don't know how much stock I put it in BGG rankings, but it is above 8 too on that one.
I do know a lot of people do enjoy this one. The only things that I've heard is it does go a little bit long. I have heard that, but the people that do enjoy it will rave about this game. And I think I remember seeing it on the table a couple times at a convention, and it looks beautiful on the table. But yeah, I would try it out on Life of the Amazonia.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a common criticism I think I've heard. Like, again, people who bad comic games seem to really evangelize for them, but I hear that they do kind of run a little long. My daughter and I at a convention started playing Wondrous Creatures, and it
I
was
feel very
getting
similar about
long.
Wondrous Creatures. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it goes a little bit longer than I want it to for what it
Right.
is. Like it's not a hard game to learn. It's not a hard game to teach.
Right.
But then it just goes on a little bit longer than you want it to. I'm going to skip down to Mercado if you guys don't care. This is one that came out in 2018. It looked interesting to me at the time I played it, and I think it's one of the worst ones on the list.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's a Cosmos
because
game, huh?
because this came from Cosmos. It's a Rudiger Dorn game, who I like some of his games. I absolutely love Las Vegas, for example. Istanbul's a great game. Kuruba, Luxor, right? Great games. This one, that's why I thought it would be worth pointing this out. Like, you can avoid this one in my opinion.
Okay. Gotcha.
It looks like you're drawing your money to auction.
Yeah.
That seems kind of brutal, right? Like, if you don't have a good draw, then you're not getting anything.
Yeah, I just remember not having a good time with it, even though I liked several of his games before that at that point. Like, I think Las Vegas is, maybe it's not a top 20 game for me, but it kind of belongs in that board game Hall of Fame top 50, I think.
Wow.
Personally, I think Las Vegas does because it's good.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
It's definitely a good game to for bringing in people that just like the theme. Hey,
Exactly.
roll some dice and
Yeah, and it's not hard to learn.
right.
Yeah, it's such a solid game.
Well, apparently a lot of people agree with you on BGG about, about Mercado because it's rated at 6.5 and there were some similar feelings on there. So, okay. And again, Orleans is on this, but we kind of touched on that.
Yeah, we talked about it. Couriers, real quick. You guys hadn't played Couriers? Really? You never played Couriers?
Have not played Couriers, so
Man.
apparently we need, I didn't know there was this many bag builders, but apparently there's a good chunk of them, but I do still think there needs to be more of them.
Is this when you're drawing? Are you drawing dice out of your bag?
Yeah, it is very similar to, if not the same as what we just talked about with, goodness sakes, Dice Masters. It's similar type of thing. I haven't played in a while, but for a while there, like these little dice games where you're building your pool of dice to play, that was really fun. I think that was mainly because my boys were a little bit younger and they wanted I need the I need the barbarian dice or whatever. Yeah. So
this is 2011. Yeah, it's definitely it shows its age on here. But
are you looking at the cover? We're talking about art again.
Yeah. No, but
Okay.
I mean, 2011. So it must have been one of the original bag building kind of dice. Are there a lot of dice in this? And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's saying this was re-implemented as DC Comics Dice Masters. So is Dice Masters is much changed?
I don't. That's what I'm trying to remember. I've played both, but I don't remember a lot of differences other than like the types of dice. Again, like barbarians versus Hulk, and a rogue versus Spider-Man.
So I'm hearing I might have to get into Dice Masters then, because I do like the IP of some of those, and I like bag building. I like rolling dice.
Yep.
We mentioned War Chest earlier.
Yeah, I think we should probably touch on that a little bit more because War Chest, we can't just let it slip by. I think
Why's that?
War Chest is up there similar to Quacks and Orleans as far as a nice bag building game. And it's a fantastic game. Fantastic two-player game where you're drawing essentially these tokens out of the bag and playing a similar war game to like chess. And it's a back and forth. But man, I really enjoyed it. This one's also on Board Game Arena, which I enjoy playing on there. But War Chest, we can't go without mentioning that this is a fantastic bag building game.
Unlike a lot of the bag builders we're talking about, this one is one where you probably will sit like chess and just stare at the board and stare at your pieces and really plan your turn more than the kind of random nature of a lot of the bag builders we're discussing.
Yep. It's a great game. Warp's Edge. Warp's Edge is a solo bag building experience. I think you can even get nice bits for this, maybe
Yep,
geek up bits
you
or
sure
something.
can.
Yeah, but I don't always worry about those things, but that's why we're having Eric.
You can
come.
also just get their capsule, their
Just
chips
capsules.
are work with coin capsules.
Yeah.
And
But to be honest with you, I like your argument. If you're going to upgrade bits, I think bag building bits are one of the ones that actually make sense.
You do handle
Because you're
yeah.
handling them a
Yeah.
lot more, and the clinky feel in the bag. Yeah, Warp's Edge, and I think there's a expansion.
there is an expansion.
There's
out
an
there.
expansion.
Recently came out. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great puzzly bag builder, right? Like because
Yeah.
you've got the different enemy ships you're fighting, and you have the different starting ships that you can use, and each one of those kind of produces a different kind of strategy that you want to
Okay.
use. It's really solid.
this one is currently on my shelf of opportunity, I believe. I think I might have ran through it one scenario at one point in time, but this is definitely convincing me to get back and try that one out. That looks super fun.
Get some coin capsules
I
first.
think if I
Coin
remember
capsules.
right, I'm trying to remember. There's a little story in there too, and I think it
Yeah.
might be written by Banana Chan, who does
Okay.
RPGs.
It's very, it's not like a huge
Yeah.
story, but there is a little bit of a.
But there is
a
some
booklet,
writing.
I think, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly. in
There's
there.
some writing alongside
Yeah.
it, so it's kind of neat.
And that's Warp's Edge by whom?
Renegade.
Renegade.
Puts
Okay.
that out, yeah. Yep, and then finally we talked about Wonderland's War. So let's end with because I haven't played that enough. Craig hasn't played it enough. Do you want to say anything more about Wonderland's War?
No, I think we got it.
Okay. Let's end with this, guys. What game would you like to see a bag building version of, or at least like in the family of? So yeah, catching off guard here.
So
Because we were talking about Ark Nova earlier. Like, what,
Yeah.
would you want to play a game where you're drawing animals out of the bag that are populating your zoo, or
Interesting.
So, theme wise, me personally, I love space games, and Warp's Edge, that's a space theme. But I would love a theme bag building, where what you're pulling out of the bag are different interstellar objects, planets, that type of thing, and you're pulling them out of a bag, and you're somehow integrating those planets into a game board. Kind of the thematic sense of that is kind of creating different things in space. So if there was a bag building game that I would love to see, would be some type of space theme bag builder for sure.
so kind of like crafting the cosmos, but pushing your luck with it?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Crafting the Cosmos, I have played that a couple times. That's more of a toy factor of there's no deck building or anything aspect of that. It's more of action selection.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thematically wise, I love crafting the Cosmos. And essentially something similar to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Because whatever it is, you have to be okay with the randomness. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, absolutely.
so you're building up something, but still not always getting what you might expect. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what kind of game. I don't know. Did you have one in mind?
Yeah. I actually, I would like. So I really enjoyed Just for Robin Hood last year. I would like to see that one redone as something where it's slightly lighter and it's just like Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood, like even like to the point where it is Men in Tights kind of IP. I think that could be a really fun game to be like you're pushing your luck. Can you get the treasure? Are you going to be able to be the first one to get to the treasure in the game by getting enough merry men and capturing the things that you want to capture?
That would work well with the lighthearted and the randomness
Oh,
of the
exactly,
bag
yeah,
building,
yeah.
right?
You think you can integrate that into a war type of game? Because I know the Just of Robin Hood, that's in the coin adjacent series.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it needs to be a war game. I like the thing. I mean, even just Robin Hood, it's very light. You can play that one that we've been talking about a lot on BGA also. If you'd like an introduction to like coin type, it's not as far as programmatic type things. It kind of leads you through how to play. It teaches you how to play pretty well. And the deck has some seeding in it, so. yeah, there's some kind of area control going on, and then some tug of war from that in Jest of Robin Hood. But I think the topic in general lends itself to being ready for bag building.
I like that idea. That sounds awesome.
So what about a trick-taking bag building game where you're taking
You just
components
had
out?
to bring in
Some of them,
trick-taking
yeah. Well, some of them
games.
could have you add value to or draw another one, change trump, change suit.
So we're just playing Rebel Princess essentially already.
Yeah, but you would have, like the different chits or whatever you're going to draw could have a number or a power or some ability. I think
Okay, let's make it.
There are
could be
so many
something there,
different
yeah.
thematic, or I'm sorry, yeah, there are so many different trick-taking games
Yeah.
that the thematics of and mechanics of bag building that you can pull in, I think could easily be done because makes me kind of think of 12 chip trick.
Oh yeah,
That's
Yeah.
kind of a coin type of trick-taking game, and Amino dice that they've
Yeah.
tried to integrate. So yeah, I think you could definitely do a
yeah.
bag
Menu
building.
dice, are coming soon as mythical dice. I think to North America is essentially skulking the dice game. You're drawing dice and rolling them and kind of hoping. But I mean, if you didn't have dice, if you just had chits that had different powers or could change suits or whatever, I think that'd be interesting.
I think the moral of the story here is that
Yeah.
we need more bag building games. There's plenty of deck building games.
Yes.
One of the mechanics that I just would love to see more in games is bag building.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to touch on is kind of bag building adjacent.
Okay.
One thing I love about game design is when a publisher will put a bag in for setup of randomness. So say you have
sure.
a tile. I know this isn't bag building as far as a mechanic, but just to touch on bag building, being able to just put everything in to a bag for setup rather than shuffling either tokens or shuffling tiles, putting all of them in a bag and just pulling them out for setup is a fantastic design, in my opinion.
Got it.
Yep.
Talking through this, we were talking about some bag builders that are dice. We didn't mention Cubitos.
We did not.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't on that list. That's a great point. I just saw John a couple months ago, and I told him that I really like that game a lot. That's a great one. Yeah, it is bag building too. And
Have you played Cubitos?
I have not.
So it's essentially a race,
Yeah.
and you're accumulating different types of dice that all have different number of how many number of faces that actually give you positive movement or a positive effect, and it's almost like quacks in the terms of like how you're purchasing. Like they have different purchase power or whatever, and then you're just getting by the end of the game you've got this enormous collection of dice.
Are you pulling these dice out of a bag?
There's no actual physical bag.
There's no
Okay.
physical bag, so
But
I guess
it's-
that's right. It's dice building,
Dice building
Yeah,
or
yeah, since
bag
we were
construction?
talking
and
about
there's the randomness of the roll.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I think on Board Game Geek it has deck building, bag building, and dice building all together
Would you
as
call it
one
Would you
mechanic.
call it a bag builder if there is no bag?
No, you're choosing which dice to roll.
Sounds
So-
like I'm gonna have to make a video
not-
at some point.
So yeah, it's in that genus though for sure.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's the same things happening. I think the nice thing about the dice ones versus a deck is like the deck always feels more programmatic because once you've set that deck, it will never change unless you have a reason to shuffle it, right? Well, with bag building and the dice building games, at least there's some randomness that happens more often in terms of how you interact with the elements. So.
Yep. Good.
Great discussion. We will be back soon with board game games. I don't know, it might be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We will be back and we will be talking about art, it sounds like, in board games.
And we'll have to put this one in the bag for now.
Oh, boy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy gaming, and we'll catch you later. You just listened to Season 8, Episode 2, where we talked about bag building games, including our favorite ones we didn't know as much about, and what we want to see in the future from these games. Thanks for listening as we continue to explore the world of tabletop gaming. Happy gaming!